Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Alpha, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing a massive vessel dropping out of FTL at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. After 15 years of preparation, they had finally arrived. The Arcturian Confederation, exactly as Earth's quantum telescopes had predicted. "Status report," she commanded, turning to face the command center buried deep within the moon's crust. The chamber hummed with quiet efficiency as officers monitored their stations, each one hand-picked for this moment. "Confederation Dreadnought matches expected specifications," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "Length, 4.2 kilometers. Energy signature suggests matter-antimatter propulsion, grade, 3 shields, and approximately 200 fighter craft. They're running active scans of the system." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Arcturians would find exactly what humanity wanted them to see, a seemingly primitive civilization just beginning to reach for the stars. The truth was far different. "Deploy Protocol Masquerade," she ordered. Across the solar system, sophisticated holographic arrays activated, projecting false images of early fusion rockets and basic orbital stations. Meanwhile, Earth's true fleet of stealth vessels powered down in the asteroid belt, their quantum camouflage making them indistinguishable from space rocks. The massive alien ship grew larger on the display as it moved inward through the solar system. Right on schedule, it began broadcasting on simple radio frequencies. "Peoples of Sol 3, we are representatives of the Arcturian Confederation, bringing enlightenment and advancement to primitive worlds. Your species has been deemed suitable for integration into our society. Prepare to receive our ambassadors and accept your place in the galactic community." Chen exchanged knowing looks with her senior staff. The Arcturians' arrogance was legendary, and it would be their undoing. Earth had spent years studying their integration campaigns on other worlds. The pattern never varied. First came the diplomatic overtures, then the demands, and finally the invasion when the target world inevitably refused to submit. "Send the prepared response," Chen commanded. "Let's play our part." A junior communications officer transmitted their carefully crafted message, designed to reinforce the Arcturians' prejudices. "This is Earth Control responding to unknown vessel. We are honored by your contact. Our world is unified and peaceful. We wish to learn from advanced civilizations." The response came quickly, "Your wisdom in accepting our guidance is noted. Prepare your primary spaceport for the arrival of our diplomatic delegation in 6 hours." As the transmission ended, Chen activated the secure quantum link to Earth's Defense Council. "They've taken the bait. Proceeding with Phase 2. The spaceport the Arcturians would land at was a masterpiece of deception. A carefully constructed facade in the Australian outback. Every piece of equipment was deliberately outdated, every sensor array designed to appear primitive while actually gathering crucial intelligence on Arcturian technology. The diplomatic team that would meet them was equally well prepared. Dr. James Wong adjusted his deliberately shabby lab coat, which concealed a suit of advanced powered armor. Around him, other scientists and officials did the same, each one a highly trained special forces operator. "Remember," Chen's voice came through their neural links, "we need them to fully commit to their invasion plan. The more forces they bring, the fewer they'll have in reserve when we spring our trap." As the first Arcturian shuttle descended through the atmosphere, Wong couldn't help but feel a touch of pity for their visitors. They thought they were following their standard playbook for subjugating another primitive species. Instead, they were walking into humanity's carefully laid trap. The shuttle landed with precise grace, its silvery hull gleaming in the Australian sun. The boarding ramp extended, and out stepped beings that looked almost human, save for their metallic skin and height approaching 3 meters. Their ornate uniforms sparkled with decorations, and their bearing radiated absolute confidence. "I am High Emissary Kral of the Arcturian Confederation," their leader announced through a translator device. "We come to elevate your species to its proper place in the galaxy." Wong bowed low, playing his role perfectly. "We are honored, Emissary." Though I must admit, we are somewhat concerned about losing our independence. Kral's expression shifted to one of barely concealed contempt, exactly the reaction they'd hoped for. Independence is an illusion of the primitive. Under our guidance, you will achieve greatness you cannot imagine. In her lunar command center, Chen watched the exchange with satisfaction. The Arcturians were following their historical pattern exactly. Within hours, they would demand Earth's immediate submission. When that was refused, they would launch what they believed would be an overwhelming invasion. They would never know what hit them. All units, she transmitted through the quantum network, maintain shutdown protocols. Let them commit their forces fully. When they cross the Mars orbit threshold, Operation Rude Awakening begins. The trap was set. Humanity had spent 15 years preparing for this moment, and the Arcturians were about to learn why it was a terrible mistake to underestimate Earth. The Arcturian dreadnoughts' launch bays disgorged waves of assault shuttles, their formation casting long shadows across Mars' rust-red surface. In his command chair, High Commander Vex watched with satisfaction as 5,000 invasion craft descended toward Earth. After the primitives' predictable refusal to submit peacefully, it was time to demonstrate the Confederation's power. Begin broadcasting surrender demands, he ordered. Show them our full fleet deployment. Let them witness true civilization's might. On Earth, Admiral Chen watched the invasion force through quantum-enhanced sensors. The Arcturians had committed 90% of their forces, exactly as predicted. She opened a channel to all Earth defense forces. All units, Lazarus Protocol is now active. Emerge. Across the solar system, humanity's true military power awakened. Within the asteroid belt, 300 stealth dreadnoughts shimmered into visibility, their quantum camouflage dissolving to reveal ships that made the Arcturian vessels look primitive by comparison. From behind Mars' moons, automated defense platforms powered up, their antimatter cannons tracking the invasion fleet. On the Arcturian flagship, alarms suddenly blared. High Commander, the sensor officer's voice cracked with panic. Multiple unknown vessels detected. Energy signatures are impossible. Vex leaped from his chair as the tactical display transformed. Where moments ago there had been only empty space, now thousands of human warships appeared. Their design was like nothing in the Confederation database, sleek, predatory vessels bristling with weapons that defied Arcturian understanding. Impossible, he whispered. They're savages. They barely have space flight. Admiral Chen's voice cut through all frequencies, her tone coldly professional. Arcturian invasion force, this is Earth Defense Command. We warned you to run. What happens next is your choice. Vex training took over. All ships, battle formation. Launch fighters. Show these primitives dash. He never finished the order. The space between Mars and Earth erupted with weapon fire. Human vessels moved with impossible precision, their neural-linked crews and AI support systems reacting faster than any Arcturian could match. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Arcturian shields as if they weren't there. Graviton beams twisted space itself, tearing ships apart. How? Vex demanded as the first wave of his fighters disappeared in balls of plasma. Their technology, they shouldn't have this. In her command center, Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Launch the swarm. From Earth's dark side, millions of autonomous combat drones emerged. Each one was smaller than a human fighter but packed with technology that had taken Earth decades to perfect. They moved like a living cloud, their quantum processors calculating optimal attack patterns in microseconds. The Arcturian fighters, despite their advanced technology, found themselves hopelessly outmatched. Their pilots' reaction times seemed glacially slow compared to the human drones' coordinated assault. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds. Shields failing. Vex's tactical officer screamed. Their weapons, they're using principles we've never seen. Chen's voice came again, last warning, Arcturian command. Surrender or retreat. You have 30 seconds to decide. Vex stared in horror as his invasion fleet disintegrated. The humans had somehow masked not just their ships but their entire civilization's level of advancement. His sensors showed weapons drawing power from quantum vacuum itself, drive systems that bent spacetime in ways Arcturian science had only theorized about. All ships, retreat, he finally ordered. Emergency temporal jump. But the humans had planned for this too. As the Arcturian ships attempted to flee, they found their temporal drives wouldn't engage. Earth's quantum disruption field, hidden in the background radiation until now, made faster-than-light travel impossible within the solar system. Interesting choice, Chen transmitted. Combat units, execute containment pattern Delta. Show them the consequences of their decision. The human fleet moved with devastating coordination, herding the remaining Arcturian ships into a killing zone between Earth and Mars. Ships that had survived 100 conquest campaigns found themselves trapped between waves of quantum weaponry and gravitational shear fields. In the Lunar Command Center, Chen watched the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Send word to the Council. Phase 2 is complete. The Arcturians' military myth is broken. Begin Phase 3. As the last Arcturian ships surrendered or died, a simple message was broadcast to the Confederation's capital: we warned you. Now learn why humans are not prey. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was done playing defensive. As Chen prepared Earth's fleets for their counter-invasion, she knew the galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity's potential for both deception and warfare. The Arcturian High Council gathered in their crystal spire on Arcturus Prime, their metallic faces reflecting the emergency lights that bathed the chamber in crimson. The loss of their entire invasion fleet, over 2,000 ships and 500,000 personnel, had sent shockwaves through the Confederation. Impossible, Supreme Counselor ZYX declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. No primitive world has ever. The holographic projection above the council table interrupted him, showing Earth vessels appearing from seemingly nowhere to tear apart Arcturian ships. The human weapons ignored shields, their drives bent space in ways that violated what the Arcturians considered possible, and their combat coordination was beyond anything the Confederation had encountered. They hid, another counselor whispered. All this time, they hid their true capabilities. In Earth orbit, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of humanity's new flagship, the ESS Deception. Around her, a fleet of 500 warships prepared for faster-than-light travel. Each vessel carried weapons and defenses developed in secret over decades, tested against reversed-engineered Arcturian technology. All ships report ready, Captain Maya Rodriguez announced from her tactical station. Operation Wolfpack is go. Chen nodded, her expression stern. Begin the jump sequence. Let's show them what happens when humanity stops playing defense. The human fleet vanished in flashes of quantum displacement, their advanced drives tearing holes in reality itself. They reappeared deep in Confederation space, surrounding a major Arcturian shipyard world. Before the defenders could react, waves of autonomous drones swarmed from the human ships. By the founders, the shipyard's commander gasped as his sensors overloaded. They're drones, they're evolving mid-battle. He spoke truth. Earth's combat AI systems learned and adapted in real time, each drone adjusting its tactics based on collective combat data. Strategies that worked against them once became useless seconds later as the swarm evolved new countermeasures. Chen's voice cut through all frequencies. Attention Arcturian forces. Your shipyards now belong to Earth. Surrender and be spared. Resist and face extinction. The Arcturian response was predictable, a desperate counterattack. But humanity had spent years studying Arcturian battle doctrine. Every defensive maneuver, every tactical response, had been analyzed and countered before the first shot was fired. Fascinating, Dr. Wong observed from his research station aboard the Deception. Their tactical computers are actually trying to adapt our methods. Too late, of course. The shipyard fell in less than an hour. Similar reports came in from across Confederation space as human strike forces emerged from quantum space to attack key military installations. Each target had been carefully chosen to maximize strategic impact while minimizing civilian casualties. In the Arcturian Council chamber, reports of defeat after defeat sparked panic. "They're not just advancing," one counselor reported, "they're systematically dismantling our military infrastructure. Every counterattack is predicted and neutralized before it begins." Supreme Counselor ZYX stared at the tactical display showing human forces spreading through Confederation space like a virus. "How?" he demanded. "How did they prepare so thoroughly?" The answer came in another transmission from Admiral Chen, broadcast across all Arcturian frequencies. "For 50 years, we watched you integrate other worlds. We studied every battle, every tactic. We reversed engineered your technology and improved it. We built our military specifically to counter yours. You thought you were the hunters. You never realized you were teaching your prey exactly how to defeat you." On the Deception's bridge, Chen watched as another Arcturian battle group fell to human forces. "Begin Phase 2 of the operation," she ordered. "Deploy the quantum viruses." Throughout Confederation space, dormant programs hidden in supposedly primitive human communications suddenly activated. Arcturian computer systems began to fail as human AI systems invaded through quantum entanglement channels the Arcturians didn't even know existed. "Their entire defense network is compromised," Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. "Their ships are losing power. Communication systems are falling. Just as planned." Chen nodded grimly. "Transmit to all human forces, Operation Wolfpack Phase 3 begins now. Drive for their capital. Show them why humanity warned them to run." As Earth's fleets pressed their advantage, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. The mighty Arcturian Confederation, which had dominated space for centuries, was being systematically dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Every engagement revealed new human technologies and tactics that seemed to defy physics itself. But Chen knew this was just the beginning. The real message wasn't just for the Arcturians, it was for every spacefaring race watching this conflict. Humanity would no longer hide its true nature. The galaxy would learn that Earth was not a world of prey, but of predators who had learned to hide their teeth. 7 days into the human offensive, the Arcturian Confederation faced a nightmare they never imagined possible. Their mighty empire, built over centuries of conquest, was being dismantled by what they had dismissed as primitive savages. Lieutenant Sarah Wong, daughter of Dr. James Wong, led her stealth team through the quantum-shadowed corridors of the Arcturian Defense Station Nexus 7. Their phase-shift suits rendered them invisible not just to sight, but to the very fabric of conventional spacetime. "Remember," she whispered through the neural link, "we're not here to destroy. We're here to demonstrate." The human operatives moved like ghosts through the station's command center, planting quantum viral seeds in critical systems. Unlike conventional computer viruses, these would spread through the Arcturians' quantum communication networks, infecting entire star systems at the speed of entanglement. On the bridge of the ESS Deception, Admiral Chen monitored dozens of similar operations across Confederation space. Status report on Operation Shadow. 97% of targeted systems successfully infiltrated, her AI assistant reported. Arcturian military command and control capability will be reduced to pre-space levels in approximately 6 hours. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Arcturians had built their empire on overwhelming force and superior technology. They never imagined facing an enemy who had spent decades specifically preparing to neutralize every advantage they possessed. Deep in Confederation space, Captain Rodriguez led a wolf pack of stealth destroyers on yet another lightning raid. Her ships appeared from quantum space, struck critical targets, and vanished before the Arcturians could even track their position. The psychological impact was devastating. "They're breaking," Rodriguez reported after another successful strike. "Their fleet formations are becoming erratic. They're jumping at shadows." In the Arcturian High Council chamber, Supreme Counselor ZYX watched his empire crumble. The humans didn't fight like any species they had encountered. They struck from impossible angles, used weapons that ignored fundamental laws of physics, and seemed to know Arcturian response patterns before they happened. "New human attack pattern detected," an aide reported, voice trembling. "They're drones, they're inside our quantum networks. They're altering our own command signals in transit. Our ships are receiving orders that never existed." Chen's voice echoed through every Arcturian communication device in Confederation space. "Your empire was built on the assumption that technological superiority equals victory. We spent 50 years proving that assumption wrong. Every technology can be countered. Every tactic can be predicted. Every strength can become a weakness." The human offensive continued with ruthless efficiency. Earth's forces never engaged in direct battles unless victory was certain. Instead, they struck at command and control systems, undermined supply lines, and used the Arcturians' own communication networks against them. Wong's stealth team completed their mission, exfiltrating the station as silently as they had entered. Behind them, they left not destruction, but uncertainty. The Arcturians would never trust their own systems again. "The beauty of asymmetric warfare," Dr. Wong explained to the Defense Council, "isn't in destroying your enemy's capability to fight. It's in destroying their willingness to continue fighting." Across Confederation space, Arcturian commanders found themselves unable to trust their sensors, their communications, or even their own ship systems. Human quantum viruses had infected everything, turning the Arcturians' technological superiority into a vulnerability. "Final phase," Chen ordered from the Deception's bridge. "Initiate Operation Ghostlight." Throughout Arcturian space, quantum entanglement bombs detonated. These weapons didn't destroy matter, they severed the quantum links that made faster-than-light communication and travel possible. The mighty Confederation, spanning hundreds of light-years, was suddenly reduced to sublight communications and travel. "Send the final message," Chen commanded. On every Arcturian world, display, and device, the same words appeared: "Your empire exists because we allow it. Your technology functions because we permit it. Continue to resist, and we will demonstrate what humanity is truly capable of. You have 6 hours to surrender." In the council chamber, ZYX looked at the tactical display showing his fragmented, isolated empire. The humans hadn't just defeated them militarily, they had demonstrated a level of strategic and technological superiority that shattered the very foundation of Arcturian civilization. "We should have listened," he whispered, "when they warned us to run." The great crystal spires of Arcturus Prime reflected the light of its 3 suns as Earth's fleet emerged from quantum space. 500 warships, led by the ESS Deception, took up position around the Confederation's capital world. Each vessel carried enough firepower to reduce a continent to ash, but that was not humanity's purpose today. Admiral Chen stood on her flagship's bridge, watching the final acts of a drama 50 years in the making. "Status of their planetary defenses? Completely neutralized," Captain Rodriguez reported. "Our quantum viruses have control of every major system. They couldn't fire a single shot even if they wanted to." In the Arcturian High Council chamber, Supreme Counselor ZYX faced the hardest moment in his species' history. The humans had systematically dismantled the Confederation's military, shattered their communication networks, and demonstrated technological superiority beyond comprehension. A hologram of Admiral Chen materialized in the center of the council chamber. The human leader's presence, even in projected form, radiated calm authority. "Your empire is ended," Chen stated simply. "But your civilization need not die. Choose carefully what happens next." ZYX rose from his throne, his metallic skin dulled with stress. "You could have destroyed us at any time. Why didn't you?" "Because humanity does not seek empire, Chen replied. We prepared for this war not out of desire for conquest, but because you left us no choice. Your pattern of integrating civilizations showed us what awaited Earth if we remained passive. The council chamber fell silent as screens displayed the full extent of human capabilities. Quantum physics manipulated at will. Artificial intelligence that evolved faster than organic thought. Weapons that could unmake reality itself. How? One counselor finally asked. How did you hide all this? Chen's hologram smiled slightly. Because you believed what you wanted to believe. You saw a primitive species and never questioned further. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons, it's our ability to learn, adapt, and deceive. Dr. Wong's voice joined the transmission. Every piece of technology you saw us use was developed by studying your own. We didn't just copy your advancements, we understood them, improved them, and then developed countermeasures. You taught us everything we needed to know to defeat you. Across the chamber, the counselors watched recordings of human ships phasing through solid matter, drones that evolved mid-battle, and weapons that ignored the laws of physics as the Arcturians understood them. These are our terms, Chen continued. The Confederation will be dissolved. Each world will be given independence and the choice to join a new galactic council, one based on cooperation rather than conquest. Your technology and knowledge will be preserved, but your military capabilities will be permanently limited. ZYX looked at his fellow counselors, seeing the recognition of truth in their expressions. They had no choice. And if we refuse? Then we demonstrate why humanity spent 50 years preparing for this moment, Chen replied coldly. Why we warned you to run. Choose. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, the Arcturian Confederation officially surrendered. As news spread across the galaxy, other spacefaring races watched in stunned silence. The species they had all dismissed as primitive had orchestrated the most decisive military victory in known history. On the Deception's bridge, Chen received the final surrender protocols. Send word to Earth Council, she ordered. Operation Rude Awakening is complete. Begin diplomatic phase. Lieutenant Wong's stealth team, monitoring the Arcturian capital, reported widespread acceptance of the terms. The Confederation's population, long fed propaganda about their own superiority, was shocked but largely relieved by humanity's measured response. A new era begins, Dr. Wong observed from his research station. The galaxy will never underestimate humanity again. That was always the point, Chen replied. Not just victory, but understanding. The galaxy needs to know that humanity will not be prey, will not be conquered, will not be subjugated. But we also won't become what we fought against. As Earth's fleet maintained its vigil over Arcturus Prime, ships from other galactic civilizations began arriving, not to fight, but to establish diplomatic relations with the species that had accomplished the impossible. Humanity had emerged from the shadows, revealing not just their technological might, but their true nature, a species that preferred peace but had mastered war, that chose cooperation but prepared for conflict, that warned their enemies to run, and proved exactly why that warning should have been heeded. The age of Arcturian dominion was over. The age of human influence had begun. And the galaxy would never be the same.